Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's as far from the truth as possible. Because if you measure a belief into what you're hearing, if you trust what you're hearing, if you put faith in what you're hearing, it can change the course of your life. You can become a completely different person by the words that you eat, by the words that you eat into your life. So the desire that she did not have before came into her by the words she was eating upon. She was eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. She was eating from that tree. And she learned a whole bunch of stuff. Surely it is knowledge. Surely it was something that could be learned from. Surely it did have wisdom attached to it. But God didn't want us to know that. You see? God didn't want us to have that knowledge. And you might even agree with the devil. Well, why not? If you think that way, that's because that spirit's still in you. And we got to get that spirit out. See, the rebellion spirit and the stubborn spirit and the self-willed spirit is the spirit of the devil. And we are children of the devil. Jesus says in John chapter 8, you're a child of the devil. You're born a child of destruction until you come to Christ, the Son of God. It's the only hope you got to escape that. So the desire comes into us, that's a spirit. And that spirit has stayed with mankind ever since the Garden of Eden. That spirit was translated into the children. And everyone born in this world has that same sinful spirit. Thinking that we can do life our own way. We see this in Genesis chapter 11. After the great flood, Noah's descendants, all the people that repopulated the earth after Noah, built a Tower of Babel. And they said we could do our own thing, make our own name, build a city to heaven, and we can do what we want. And God agreed with that. Do you understand that God agreed with that? God did not say no, that it's impossible for man to do what he wants. Look at Genesis chapter 11. Genesis chapter 11, God himself says, these guys are going to do everything they put their mind to unless we stop them. The whole earth was filled with one speech and one language, Genesis 11. They said, let's make bricks, let us build a city, tower to heaven, whose top may reach heaven. And the Lord came down to see what was going on. And the Lord said, behold, the people are one, and they have one language. And this thing they begin to do, and nothing will be restrained from them. Nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. God said that. God said that. Men don't want to listen to God. That's the main sinful part of your spirit. Here's the lie. You shall not die. That was the lie. But you shall be as gods. That was partially true, because God agreed with it. Here in the next chapter, look what God says. Behold, man shall become as one of us. He knows good and evil now. That's what God's saying. That's Genesis chapter 3, verse 22. God said they shall become like us, knowing good and evil. Well, that's the same thing Lucifer said to Eve. You shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And we tend to think that Satan always mixes truth with lies. It's never really well, it is sometimes just a bold-faced lie. The easiest way to lie to somebody is mix it with truth, brothers and sisters. You know that. You know that. The easiest way to lie to somebody is to mix it with truth. So he says, you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Well, God says they have become like us, knowing good and evil. Then we saw that they received a desire. The next verse, chapter 6, I said the number of man. Chapter 3, verse 6, 3:6, 666. Interesting verse number there. The woman saw the tree the way Satan saw the tree. She didn't see it before that way until she started talking with him. All right, and a tree to be desired, that desire entered into her from talking to him. She picked up his desire, and that desire went into her. Her eyes were open and enlightened to something because a spiritual concept or idea had gone into her. And so I wanted to show you that everybody's born that way, and we're taking a look at Genesis 11, where man, after the flood, begins to build their own kingdom against God. And God said, nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. In other words, you can do pretty much anything you put your mind to. See, people of the world know this and can gain magnificent riches. These people that write books like The Secret, The Power of Positive Thinking, and Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich books, the Tony Robinson gurus, and the motivational speakers that go around helping people understand how to conquer this world and gain material wealth and overcome depression even. You can gain the whole world. You can go to a lot of different self-help groups. I'm okay, you're okay. Philosophies of the world. You can figure out by the principles and rudiments of this world how to succeed. Succeed on a carnal level, succeed on an earthly level. It's available to anybody. Everybody has the same mechanism in them to believe and to achieve. Everybody does. Everybody's been given a measure of that. Everybody's been given a measure of that, to believe in things you don't see and to go out and try to achieve it. Every invention is based on that principle. An idea, a hypothesis, a concept is born into the mind, and you can't touch it yet because it doesn't exist. It's not real yet because it hasn't been made. It's just in the mind, imagination, speculation. It's fantasy until you make it happen, until mankind manifests that thing into tangible material product. Everything comes by way of believing first. Everything. We are creatures of faith, and anything we believe and anything we imagine we can do unless God himself intervenes and says, no, I don't want you to do that. Paul was going to go into Asia in the book of Acts. The Holy Spirit said, no, I don't want you to go that way. We have a Father, and we have instructions, and we have a God who has directed and planned our life, and we exist for his good pleasure and not your own. See, that's the difference between the elect of God and the people of the world. We know that our lives are not our own. We know that we were created for his good pleasure, for him. We are created for him. And we're willing to submit to that reality. We are willing to say, okay, God, have your way in my life. Do with me whatever you want. I don't want to try to control my own life. I don't want to do whatever I imagine, because my imagination is evil. I want a clean conscience. I want you to give me your will and your perception. I don't want to look at the tree the way Satan looked at the tree. I want to look at the tree the way you looked at the tree, and I want to do what you tell me to do. Surrender to God.